Well, Bill Maher packed a punch as he mocked Biden ahead of the State of the Union address. But the comedian also offered some simple advice to the commander-in-chief about his age. He says, well, own it and embrace it.
Instead of trying to refute all the too old to be president slams, Joe must embrace them. Stop with the I'm sharper than ever. Nobody's buying that. Don't try to deny the age thing. Lean into it. Lean in. Lean in like you're eating soup. Just admit it. Say, yes, I'm bad with names, and I walk like a toddler with a full diaper. I say he should let his old fart flag fly.
Katie, I want to come to you on this, but I've got the White House's reaction, the cleanup on aisle 3, and also if you lean into it too hard, I mean, you might just lean into a grave. I mean, it's pretty old.
Fall over.
This is KJP's. This is what she has to say on this cognitive test.
The president doesn't need a cognitive test. That is not my assessment. That is not my assessment. That is the assessment of the president's doctor. That is also the assessment of the neurologist. He passes a cognitive test every day, as he moves from one topic to another topic, understanding the granular level of these topics. You saw him talk about fighting crime today. Tomorrow he's going to go to the border.
Katie, this is the extent. This is from the White House, from Kevin O'Connor, his physician. This is the extent of the cognitive verification. He says he continues to be fit for duty and fully executes all of his responsibilities without any exemptions or accommodations. You know, thankfully, the president doesn't need accommodations other than maybe going to the second set of steps on Air Force One, a few other things.
Well, this is a transparency issue. So Karine Jean-Pierre repeatedly gets asked questions about his cognitive ability, and she keeps saying, well, I'm not a doctor. But then the follow-up question is, well, can you make the White House physician available for direct questioning about the president's cognitive health and his physical? And the answer is always no. They've done this repeatedly. And there have been even more questions after the special counsel report came out saying, essentially, they didn't charge him with handling classified information illegally as a private citizen because he had a poor memory and couldn't remember things like when his son died or basic facts, and that he just has a bad memory. They're still trying to say that the doctor doesn't need to be made available. Now that we're in this presidential year, Donald Trump made his physician available in the briefing room twice, I believe. Maybe it was more than that. Dr. Ronnie Jackson came out and took tons of questions from the press directly about Donald Trump, and they still didn't believe him. So this idea that they're still getting away with the president not making his physician directly available only makes the questions about what's going on even more, you know, attainable.
No, she sits there and she says it like we're stupid if we question. And I love this line of, he passes a cognitive test every day. And I wonder if it's like left shoe, right shoe, and they consider that the test. I'm not really sure. Caddy is old.
That's not the issue. It actually isn't the issue. It really isn't the issue. My grandfather has got about 10 years on Joe Biden, okay? And if he was walking around, like walking aimlessly all over, talking to dead people, I'd be like, Papa, we're going to the hospital, okay? I think if I were in front of that doctor, I would ask that doctor this question. I would say, my neighbor reminds me a lot of Joe Biden. Should I have him over to watch my children? Does that sound like a good idea? Now, I don't have kids, but like, she doesn't need to know that. Nobody needs to know that. But the point being, would you actually, as a medical expert, say that somebody in this mental state that we all notice, please don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about, would you recommend them as a good babysitter for young children? I feel like that would be potentially illegal to answer in the affirmative. I am also not a lawyer, so I don't know. But that sounds like a dangerous situation. I hate the way they act like we don't know, yes, he moves from topics, but that's not a good thing. Like, he'll just be standing there, all of a sudden he's like, I have cancer from oil on the windshield. And he's supposed to be talking about something else. The oil cancer thing,
Well, that was beautiful, actually.
That was never followed.
Pat's never going to get over the oil windshield.
I'm never getting over the oil cancer because everybody just moved on. They're like, yes, the president said he's been deeply affected by cancer. That is not what he said. He said he had oil cancer.
Well, Charlie, I mean, that's kind of the thing is there's never been a more stark contrast between President Trump and President Biden than probably this week at the border. President Biden had to hold kind of the arm of a Border Patrol agent and be led. I mean, it was very visible. Trump is waving across the fence at his fans on the other side. And this is not really to belittle President Biden, but to say there is a very obvious difference in how they get around in how they seem to be cognitively. Why does this White House, that is their deal on everything. They gaslight this way. Oh, the border's secure. President Biden doesn't need depends.
They lie, and then people like the press believes it. It's so amazing that it took the Her report to come out and say that he's a doddering old man who can't answer basic questions, can't remember, can't think clearly, in order to convince the White House press corps what the entire country already knew, which is the guy's lost his marbles, and they're now trying to do a rearguard action, trying to sort of make up for it. But I would actually disagree with Bill Maher here a little bit, in that I think that the White House is already kind of leaning into this. I think that they would, for example, this past week, I can't remember whatever day he went to Walter Reed. That was the worst day of the worst week of Joe Biden's entire 50-year political career.
Yeah.
With everything going on at the border, having to go there and have a split screen between him and Trump at the border. His son was being deposed on Capitol Hill. All of these things, and what did the White House choose to do? They decided to spring a visit to Walter Reed. Mm-hmm. The reason why? Because they would rather talk about his mental frailties than actually talk about the issues that the White House is responsible for, from gas prices to crime to the border.
Yeah, the age is baked in. They think he got elected old and cognitively
And they think
funny.
they can, exactly.
Well, we'll see. He's our president right now, and we have, I don't know, anywhere near 3 wars raging in different places. I wish he were with it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.